I always thought my family was normal. Well, as normal as any family could be with small-town gossip and endless holiday dinners. My name is Lily Matthews, and for years, I believed I knew every secret in our household. Until the day I found out I didn't. It started with a text from my younger sister, Emma. "Lily, you need to see this." Now, curiosity, and a hint of dread, pulled me to her room. She held a small photo in trembling hands. It was a baby, barely 3 months old, sleeping in a crib. At first, I thought it was one of my cousin's kids. Then I noticed the name embroidered on the blanket. Liam Matthews. I froze. Matthews? Our Matthews? My mind raced. Liam wasn't supposed to exist. At least, not in the family's official story. "What is this?" I whispered, my voice catching. Emma looked at me with wide eyes. It's your nephew." I blinked. "Your nephew? Whose kid is this?" She hesitated, biting her lip. "Everyone thinks it's, Cousin Ben's." But, I felt my chest tighten. "But what?" Emma's voice barely rose above a whisper. "Lily, it's yours." Time seemed to stop. The room tilted. The baby in the photo, the one I had never known existed, was my child? My heart pounded in disbelief, fear, and a strange sense of betrayal. I sank onto the bed. "That's impossible. How, when, why?" Emma swallowed hard. "Mom and Dad said it was for the best. They told Ben and the family it was his, to protect you. They said you were too young, that it would ruin everything. They adopted him out to stay in the family. But the truth, Lily, he's your son." I felt my hands go cold. I had been 15 when, no. The memories I had buried, the summer I thought I'd lost everything, it all came flooding back. "Why didn't you tell me?" I demanded, my voice shaking. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I wanted to, so many times, but Mom said I couldn't. She said it would destroy you if you found out now." Destroy me? They had kept my child from me. My own blood. I stared at the photograph, seeing his tiny hands, his peaceful face. And despite the years, despite the betrayal, something inside me shifted. Love. An overwhelming, undeniable love. I had to see him. I had to hold him. I had to know the truth firsthand. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, trying to make sense of the years of secrets, the lies, and the family smiles that had hidden so much. How could the people I trusted the most keep this from me? By morning, I made a decision. I was going to confront my parents. I was going to demand answers. And I was going to see my son, no matter what. What I didn't know then was that uncovering the truth would unravel everything I thought I knew about my family, and change my life forever. The next morning, I sat in the kitchen, my hands wrapped around a mug of lukewarm coffee, trying to steady my racing thoughts. Emma sat across from me, eyes wide and anxious. "Are you really going to do it?" she asked softly. I nodded. "I have to. I need answers. And I need to see him." She hesitated, then reached out, touching my hand. "Mom and Dad, they've been carrying this secret for years. I don't know how they'll react." I took a deep breath. "I don't care. I have a right to know my son. I have a right to be in his life." Walking into the living room, I saw my parents sitting with expressions that tried to hide worry but failed miserably. They looked up as I entered, and I felt a wave of emotions, anger, sadness, confusion. "Lily," my mom began, her voice shaking. "Mom, Dad, I know about Liam." My father's face paled. My mother's eyes filled with tears. "Lily, we wanted to protect you," she said softly. "Protect me? By lying to me for years? My child, my son, you've kept him from me." My voice rose, trembling with fury and pain. "How could you do that? I deserved to know. He deserved to know his mother." Mom reached out to me, but I stepped back. "Don't touch me. I need answers, not excuses." My father cleared his throat, his hands shaking. "You were so young, Lily. We thought you wouldn't be able to handle it. We thought, by keeping him close to family, by letting Ben raise him, it would be safer for everyone." "Safer? You robbed me of my son. You made decisions about my life without me." I shouted. Mom's voice cracked. "We were trying to do the right thing. We never wanted to hurt you." I shook my head, my heart breaking in a million pieces. "Well, congratulations. You did. Every day, for years, you hurt me. And you hurt him. He doesn't even know me." And tears spilled down my face. I swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "I want to see him. I need to hold him. I need to know my son." Mom looked at Dad, a silent plea in her eyes. Then she nodded. "Okay, we'll take you to him. But, please, Lily, be gentle. He's your son, yes. But he doesn't know you. I nodded, barely able to speak. My stomach was tight with anticipation. My heart raced faster than ever. This was the moment I had been dreaming of, and dreading, for years. We drove in tense silence. The house we arrived at belonged to my cousin Ben and his wife. They had been raising Liam as their own, doting on him with love and care. I watched from the car window, my hands trembling, my breath shallow. Mom reached over, squeezing my hand. Remember, he's a child. Go slow. I nodded again, trying to steady my nerves. I couldn't believe that in a few moments, I would finally meet the boy I had carried in my heart for so long. Stepping inside, I saw him. Liam was sitting in a small chair, playing with a toy car, his tiny hands gripping it tightly. He looked up, eyes curious, and I felt my chest shatter and rebuild all at once. I took a step closer, my voice shaking. "Hi, Liam." His eyes widened, and he reached out. My knees nearly buckled as I sank to the floor, holding him in my arms for the first time. He was warm, soft, and mine. My son. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, "I'm your mom. I'm so sorry it took so long." In that moment, the anger, the betrayal, and the pain mixed with a profound love that made everything else fade. For the first time, I felt whole. But deep inside, I knew this was just the beginning. Bringing him into my life, and entangling the years of lies, would be far more complicated than just holding him. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I sensed that not everyone would welcome my presence so easily. Holding Liam in my arms, I felt an overwhelming surge of love and fear. I had dreamed of this moment for years, yet now that it was real, I didn't know what to do. Every tiny movement, every little sound he made, tugged at my heart. Ben, my cousin, stepped forward cautiously. "Lily, he's been calling me Dad. He doesn't know about you yet." I nodded, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. "I understand, but I want to be in his life. I need him to know me." Ben looked torn. "We raised him because your parents thought, well, because of what happened. We thought we were helping." "I get that," I said, my voice shaking. "But he's my son. He needs me, too." Ben glanced at his wife, who was holding back tears. "It's complicated, Lily. He loves us. And, he's used to us being his family." I closed my eyes, fighting to steady my emotions. "I don't want to take him away. I want to be part of his life. Please." My mom stepped closer. "We'll help make this work. We'll all take it slow. But Lily, you need to understand, he's been through a lot without knowing you. Patience is key." I nodded, letting the tears flow. "I can be patient. I can do anything for him." Over the next few weeks, I began visiting Liam regularly. At first, he was hesitant, hiding behind Ben or his mom when I tried to play with him. But slowly, with toys, songs, and gentle hugs, he began to warm up. Each smile, each tiny laugh, made my heart swell. Yet, at the same time, tension simmered under the surface. My parents and Ben's family had disagreements over what was best for Liam. I overheard arguments about custody, rules, and schedules. And I realized that while love brought us together, the past, and the lies, were far from settled. One evening, after a particularly difficult visit, I sat in the car with my mom. "I don't know if I'm doing the right thing," I admitted, my hands gripping the steering wheel. Mom reached over. "You are. You're being honest, Lily. You're showing him love. That's all that matters." I nodded, but a heavy feeling lingered. I knew that as long as secrets and resentment existed, rebuilding trust with Liam, and even with my family, would be a battle. Later that night, I stared at Liam's picture on my phone, whispering, "I promise, I'll never leave you again. No matter what it takes." And somewhere deep inside, I realized that even though the road ahead would be messy and painful, there was no turning back. Because some truths, no matter how painful, were worth fighting for. The days blurred into a rhythm of visits, negotiations, and quiet moments with Liam. Every time I left him at the end of the day, I felt a pang that made my chest ache. I couldn't help but replay every second we spent together, the way he smiled when I sang silly songs, the tiny hand he placed on my cheek when he wanted comfort, the way his eyes seemed to study me as if he knew I belonged there. But the peace never lasted. One afternoon, I arrived at the house for a visit and found my mom and Ben arguing in the living room. "He's not ready," Ben exclaimed. "You're rushing this. Lily just can't take him away after all these years." Mom's voice was firm, but her eyes betrayed worry. "We're not taking him away, Ben. She's his mother. He deserves to know her. I stepped into the room, trying to intervene before the argument escalated further. Please, I said, my voice trembling. We're not fighting over him. I just want to be part of his life. That's it. Ben's jaw tightened. Do you even understand what you're asking, Lily? He's lived with us his whole life. You're asking him to change everything he knows about family. I know, I admitted. And I'm ready to earn his trust. That's all I want. The tension was suffocating. For a moment, everyone in the room froze, as if waiting for someone to break the fragile calm. Liam toddled into the room, clutching his favorite toy. He looked up at me, then at Ben, and then back at me. I held out my hand to him. Hi, Liam, do you want to play with me? He hesitated, glancing at Ben, then slowly approached, placing the toy in my hands. My heart soared. It was a small gesture, but it felt monumental. A first sign that our bond could grow despite the years of secrets. Over the next few weeks, I made a promise to myself. I would not let anger or frustration get in the way of our relationship. I would be patient, gentle, and consistent. Each visit became a little longer, each hug a little stronger, each laugh a little freer. But just when I started feeling hopeful, an unexpected twist shattered the fragile calm. I received a call from Emma, her voice frantic. Lily, it's Ben. He's threatening to cut me off. He says if you keep insisting on seeing Liam, he'll call the lawyers and try to restrict access for everyone. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about me anymore. Emma, my mom, Liam, they were all caught in the crossfire. I clenched my fists, my mind racing. I couldn't let this family feud hurt Liam. Not after everything he had endured. I knew I had to act carefully, strategically. Love alone wouldn't be enough this time. I needed courage, determination, and perhaps, a little help from those I trusted most. That night, as I sat alone, I whispered to Liam's photo on my phone, I promise you, my son, no one is going to take us apart. Not him, not anyone. I'll fight for you, always. And for the first time, I realized that reclaiming my son's life would not only test my patience but would challenge every limit of my strength. The following morning, I woke with a determined energy. I couldn't let Ben intimidate me, or my family, into backing down. Liam deserved more than whispers and half measures. He deserved the truth and the love of his mother. I gathered my courage and called my mom. We need a plan, I said. We can't let him isolate me from Liam. I'm not backing down. Mom's voice was steady but cautious. I know, Lily. We'll do this together. But remember, we need to be careful. If he calls lawyers, it could complicate everything. I nodded, swallowing my fear. I don't care. I just want to see Liam without fear. That's all. We devised a plan. I would continue regular visits, documenting each interaction. We would involve a family mediator to ensure Ben couldn't manipulate the situation. Most importantly, we would give Liam a consistent presence, me, his mother. The first few visits were tense. Ben hovered, watching every move. His wife whispered instructions to Liam, subtly trying to influence him. And yet, despite the obstacles, little moments of connection with Liam grew stronger. One afternoon, while helping Liam build a tower of blocks, he looked up at me and said, "Mommy, higher." My heart stopped. He had said it, Mommy. My son had chosen to call me that. Even with Ben watching, he recognized me. Tears welled in my eyes. Yes, sweetheart. Higher. I helped him stack the blocks, our laughter mingling in the room. Later, I spoke to Mom privately. Did you hear that? He called me Mommy. She smiled, eyes moist. It's a start. That's all you need right now, moments like these. He's starting to bond with you. But the calm didn't last. That evening, I received a text from Ben. Stop pushing this, Lily. You're overstepping. One more move like today, and I'll take legal action. Don't test me. Anger flared, but I forced myself to stay calm. This wasn't about pride. This was about Liam. I called Emma immediately. We need to fight this together. Mom and I will support you. Ben can't intimidate us. He won't control Liam's life. Emma hesitated, then whispered, okay. But, are you ready for what might happen? I had to be, I said firmly. For him. For Liam. I can't let fear rule us anymore. Over the next few weeks, we met with a mediator, documenting every visit and every interaction. Slowly, Liam began to show preference for my presence, asking for me during bedtime, sharing his small stories, even hugging me without hesitation. It was beautiful, fragile, and terrifying all at once. I had my son in my life, but I knew the real battle, the battle for acceptance and trust, was just beginning. As I tucked Liam into bed one night, I whispered, "Mommy's here. Always." And for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope that love could conquer even the deepest family secrets. The weeks that followed were a delicate dance of patience, strategy, and hope. I started to see the real Liam, not just the child everyone else claimed he was. Every laugh, every shy smile, every whispered, "Mommy," strengthened the bond between us. But Ben wasn't backing down. He began subtle attempts to limit my visits, last-minute schedule changes, veiled threats, and guilt trips designed to intimidate. He assumed fear would make me retreat. I refused. One afternoon, after Ben tried to cut a visit short, I confronted him. "Ben, this isn't about you. Liam is my son. He has a right to know me. You can't keep me from him." He sneered. "You think he'll just roll over because you cry, Mommy? He's lived with us for years. You're a stranger." "I may have been a stranger, but not anymore," I shot back. "And every visit, every moment we share, proves I belong in his life." Ben's jaw tightened, but before he could respond, Liam toddled up and tugged my hand. "Mommy, stay." I froze, watching the undeniable truth in his tiny gesture. My son had chosen me. Not Ben. Not anyone else. He had chosen me. Ben's face paled. He had no words. Liam's tiny hand on mine spoke louder than anything he could argue. Later that night, I talked to my mom and Emma. "He chose me," I whispered, tears streaming. "I don't need the house, the rules, or permission. He knows me." Mom hugged me tight. "That's right, Lily. You fought for this. And he's responding because you're consistent, loving, and patient. You're showing him what family really is." But the battle wasn't over. Ben tried subtle manipulations with family members, attempting to paint me as unfit. Cousins, aunts, and even some neighbors whispered doubts. I felt the weight of judgment and suspicion, but I refused to let it break me. I spent late nights researching custody laws, preparing for potential legal challenges, and documenting every visit. It wasn't easy. Fear often gripped me. What if Ben succeeded? What if I lost Liam again? Then came a breakthrough. Liam, sitting on the living room floor, handed me a drawing he had made. It was a stick figure family, and at the center was a figure labeled Mommy. I held it to my chest, tears spilling over. "You see, Liam," I whispered, "this is what love looks like. Mommy is here." That night, I sat by the window, staring out at the city lights. The battle for my son's heart was ongoing, but for the first time, I truly believed I could win. Because love, consistency, and truth had a power no secret, no lie, and no threat could ever erase. And as I whispered good night to Liam over the phone before bedtime, I promised myself one thing. No matter what Ben tried, no matter how hard the fight, I would never let my son feel alone again. The tension in the Matthews household was reaching its peak. Family gatherings became minefields, with Ben making passive-aggressive remarks and extended relatives questioning my intentions. I tried to stay composed for Liam's sake, but the stress gnawed at me. One afternoon, I arrived for a visit to find Liam sitting at the table, coloring quietly. Ben approached, his face tight with controlled anger. "Lily," he said, "you can't just show up whenever you want. He needs stability, not chaos." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "Ben, I'm not trying to create chaos. I'm trying to be his mother. That's stability. Liam needs to know me. He needs both love and truth." Ben's eyes flashed, but before he could argue, Liam looked up. "Mommy, read me a story?" The words were like a hammer striking truth into the room. I walked over and took him into my lap. As I read aloud, his little hands clinging to mine, I realized something profound. Ben could make threats, whisper lies, or manipulate others, but he could never replace the bond between a mother and her child. After the story, I spoke to my mom and Emma privately. "He's resisting, but it's not about Liam. It's about control. We can't give him that power." Mom nodded. "You're right, but be careful. He'll push back harder." The next week, I scheduled a longer visit, with Mom and Emma present as support. We played games, baked cookies, and sang songs. Slowly, Liam began calling me Mommy more often, even in front of Ben. But the real turning point came unexpectedly. One evening, Liam came running up to me with a small bouquet of dandelions he had picked from the yard. "I made this for you, Mommy," he said proudly. I took the flowers, my heart swelling. "Thank you, Liam. These are beautiful, just like you." Ben, standing nearby, looked at his son's gesture with surprise. For the first time, he seemed to realize that Liam's affection for me was genuine and unshakable. Later that night, my mom whispered, "You're doing it, Lily. You're building something real with him. And Ben, he's starting to see it too." The weeks turned into months. Each visit, each laugh, each bedtime story brought Liam closer to me. While Ben continued to assert his authority, even he couldn't deny the bond that had grown. One evening, as I tucked Liam into bed, he hugged me tightly. "I love you, Mommy," he whispered. Tears blurred my vision. I kissed his forehead and whispered back, "I love you too, Liam. Forever." And in that moment, I realized something. The past, the lies, and the fear couldn't undo what had begun. Our bond was real, powerful, and unbreakable. Even if the road ahead remained complicated, one truth was undeniable. Love had finally found its way home. The next few weeks were a mixture of joy and tension. Liam was thriving, but the undercurrent of family conflict never fully disappeared. Ben still made occasional remarks, subtle attempts to remind me of the past arrangement, but they grew weaker as Liam became more comfortable calling me Mommy. One rainy afternoon, I arrived for a visit, umbrella dripping in the hallway, only to find Ben pacing nervously. "We need to talk," he said, his tone unusually serious. I braced myself. "About what?" "About Liam. About you. About everything. I can't ignore what's happening. He's bonded with you. You're his mother in every sense that matters." I blinked, surprised. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Ben ran a hand through his hair, conflicted. "I was wrong to try to push you out. I wanted to protect him, but I see now that you're his mother. And he needs you, not just visits, not just stories, he needs you." My chest tightened with relief and hope. "So, we can be a family? Not perfect, maybe, but real?" He nodded slowly. "Yes, we can try." Later, I sat with Liam, playing with his building blocks. He looked up at me with wide, trusting eyes and handed me a block. "Mommy, help me build?" I smiled, taking his tiny hands. "Of course, Liam." The hours passed with laughter, songs, and stories. For the first time, I felt the possibility of a normal life. A family where love and honesty mattered more than secrets and fear. That night, Mom and I sat in the kitchen, exhausted but happy. "You've done something remarkable, Lily," she said softly. "You've claimed your role as a mother, and you've done it with patience and love. Liam will never forget it." I smiled, though my mind wandered to the challenges ahead. Integrating fully into a family that had been kept apart for years wouldn't be easy. But for the first time, I believed it was possible. Then came an unexpected twist. A letter arrived from a family lawyer, representing Ben. It outlined a formal agreement to establish my parental rights. The words were precise, legal, and final. I was officially recognized as Liam's mother. Tears filled my eyes. After months of fear, tension, and uncertainty, the law had acknowledged the truth I had always known in my heart. That night, I held Liam close and whispered, "Mommy is here. Always. And now, everyone knows it." For the first time, I felt unstoppable. The past had been painful, but the future, our future, was ours to build. The days following the legal recognition were a whirlwind of emotions. I felt lighter, freer, and yet the reality of building a true bond with Liam, and navigating the complexities of family dynamics, remained daunting. At our first, official, family dinner after the agreement, the atmosphere was tense but hopeful. Ben was polite, albeit cautious. My mom and Emma offered quiet support, helping Liam feel comfortable. Liam, oblivious to the tension, giggled and pointed to me. "Mommy, sit here." I smiled and took the seat next to him, feeling a warmth in my chest I hadn't experienced before. The tiny victories, the small affirmations of love, were what mattered. During dessert, I noticed Ben watching me. His expression softened, a mixture of realization and respect. "You've been patient," he said quietly. "You've proven yourself. Liam, he knows who you are now, and he trusts you." I nodded, grateful but cautious. "I just want him to feel loved and safe. That's all that matters to me." Mom leaned closer. "You've done more than just show him love, Lily. You've shown the entire family what it means to fight for someone with honesty and care. That's remarkable." As the evening wore on, Liam fell asleep in my arms, exhausted from a day full of laughter and excitement. I carried him to his crib, my heart swelling with love and pride. Afterward, I sat in the living room with Mom and Emma. "It's not over yet," I said softly. "There will be challenges. Ben may try to assert control at times. And Liam, he'll have questions as he grows older. Mom nodded. But you've built the foundation. That bond cannot be undone. You're his mother, and he knows it now. I leaned back, letting the weight of the past months finally settle. The fear, the secrecy, the uncertainty, it had all led to this. And while the road ahead would still have obstacles, I knew we could face them together. The next morning, I woke to the sound of Liam's tiny voice calling, "Mommy. Mommy." I rushed into his room, and he ran into my arms, hugging me tightly. In that moment, I realized that every tear, every sleepless night, every battle with fear and doubt had been worth it. This was our life now, a life built on love, truth, and the courage to reclaim what was rightfully mine. And as I kissed his forehead, I whispered, "We made it, Liam. We're together. Always." The past was behind us, the present was ours, and the future, our family's future, was just beginning. The morning sun poured through Liam's bedroom window, casting a warm glow on his peaceful face. I watched him sleep for a moment, my heart overflowing. After months of struggle, fear, and uncertainty, I finally felt a sense of peace. Mom and Emma were downstairs, preparing breakfast, their laughter carrying softly through the house. The house no longer felt tense or filled with unspoken grudges. For the first time in years, it felt like home. Liam stirred, opening his eyes and smiling when he saw me. "Mommy," he squealed, climbing onto the bed. I scooped him up, hugging him tightly. "Good morning, my love. Did you sleep well?" He nodded enthusiastically, burying his face into my shoulder. In that moment, I realized how much I had longed for this. A simple morning with my child, free from fear or lies. Later, at the breakfast table, Ben joined us. He gave me a small, tentative smile, and Liam waved happily. The tension that had haunted our interactions for months was finally easing. I want to apologize, Lily," Ben said quietly. "I didn't understand. I thought I was protecting him, but I see now, you were always meant to be his mother." I nodded, accepting the olive branch. "It's okay. We've both learned a lot. What matters is Liam, and making sure he feels loved and safe." Mom reached over, squeezing my hand. "We're finally a family again. Stronger, maybe, but together." In the days and weeks that followed, I continued to build my life with Liam. Every laugh, every storytime, every bedtime cuddle strengthened our bond. I watched him grow, his confidence blossoming under the warmth of love he had waited so long to feel from his mother. And while challenges still appeared, questions from relatives, the occasional lingering resentment, I knew I could face them. I had faced fear, betrayal, and uncertainty, and I had come out stronger, more determined, and with my son in my arms. One evening, as Liam slept peacefully, I sat by his bedside, whispering softly, "I'll always be here, Liam. No one can take us apart. We belong to each other." The future felt bright, filled with possibility. The past, the secrets, the pain, the lies, was behind us. And for the first time, I believed in a life where love conquered fear, truth healed wounds, and family could be rebuilt stronger than ever. As I looked at Liam, I smiled through tears of joy and relief. Our journey had been long and painful, but it had led us to this. A new beginning, a life of love, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. And I knew, in my heart, that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, always.